Welcome to Andertons TV on Drum Addicts, and today is a very, very special day. We've got a very special new product and the delightful Michael Schack playing it.
Hello.
And this man flew in this morning. He's here for like 3 hours.
I took the train.
Well, Eurostarred it here,
Yeah,
but
I channeled.
very special to have this, which is the new Roland flagship TD-50 drum kit, which is super exciting. It's been lots of fun playing it, and Michael's going to talk us through some of the cool features about it, and
Absolutely,
get us started.
There's quite some things to tell about it. And well, first of all, just look at it. We have a bass drum.
Proper size bass drum.
So many people have been asking about, bigger size cymbals and bigger size snare and a true bass drum, and here it is. But we had to wait for the technology to be ready to actually make it work really decently, and now it's there.
And this is special technology, isn't it? Shall we start off with the new cool toys that is bass drum, snare,
well,
and
let's
ride?
look at the bass drum. It's actually, this is, there's 3 models for the TD-50. There's this one with the KD-822 bass drum package. So it's actually 2 heads, and both heads feature the triggering technology. It's built in, and you just put those heads on any bass drum you want. It will also come with, if for people that don't have a bass drum shell yet, it will also come with a bass drum shell. But the most important thing is that you can even just buy the heads and put it on your own bass drum. So you can actually transform your own bass drum in a V drum.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to do a hybrid setup with that.
Exactly.
With their acoustic kit and SPDSX.
Exactly,
things like that,
and
so.
Especially for people that want to take the V drums on stage, it's a really big step forward. But still, the KD 140, the big gigantic,
conventional.
Yeah, the conventional pad will still be there as well. So that's step 1. Step 2, and that's probably what is gonna turn a lot of heads on this kit, is the fact that it features for the very first time digital pads. So many people think that drum pads are always digital, but it's actually not true. Most drum pads, well, all drum pads have been analog up till now, because it's just analog cables triggering digital technology inside the module. But now we have digital technology inside the new ride pad, which is called the CY18 Digital Ride TR, and inside the DS14 Digital Snare, which is featuring USB technology in the pad.
And is also 14-inch proper size one. Feels
Exactly.
much nicer to play.
Exactly.
New head on it as well.
Yeah, and it also has a deep shell. It looks awesome. It's really very, there you go. It's like a real snare. But it's not only that, like there's USB connection cables. So you need to connect, you can only connect these pads to the TD-50 module, because they actually communicate digitally through USB. Now, very important also about the new snare, it also features a new mesh head. Feels better, feels more consistent, and of course also with the 14-inch snare we had to improve the diameter, so also the strength of the head, because many people like to really tension their head really high, so that has also been worked on. And also, and I'm just gonna, let's just look at the ride. 18-inch diameter. It actually has the exact same weight as a ride cymbal. So also physically it feels really, you can really dig into it. But thanks to the USB technology and the communication with the module, the resolution of the stick positioning, also same with the snare, also the fact how it reacts, the resolution of from very silent to very loud, as you saw in some of the kits I played, is amazing, because this ride and this snare also work with the new HD high definition MIDI engine, which is also for the very first time in any drum module. So there's a lot of things going on at the same time. And one very simple thing to show is this. You just put your hand on there.
You can actually roll your hand, can't you? And it will know how much pressure. Yeah.
So it's not only choking, but it also recognizes, you know, your hand touching the surface. It's quite something. I think it's a big step forward.
But feel-wise, when you actually play it, it's a lot.
No.
It feels less rubbery and just a little lighter, more like an acoustic ride.
Yeah, and also, you know, very important, we're still using the same drumsticks, you know, so actually the transition going from an acoustic set to a V drum set like the TD-50 now, the gap is even smaller than it used to be with the TD-30. For me, for instance, I still use the same sticks on an acoustic drum set or on a V drums. I'm not changing shoes either, you know, you just use your same human tools and just start drumming, and it feels like you're really playing a drum set.
Obviously, a lot of people sometimes use maple sticks and things like that. I use exactly the same stick. And
it's your own choice. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The thing about V-drums always with Roland has been that you have to be able to translate your human movements into sound. And at the most speedy pace, because that's also very important. Like for instance here in UK or in Belgium where I'm from, drum and bass and metal music are also very popular. So you need modules to be really fast so they can translate all your movements within 3 milliseconds into the best sound. And that is why this new module also comes with a brand new processor.
So talk us through, there's lots of, obviously people look at all the Roland flagship V-drum modules, they're all a square box, they have similar dials top left and a big wheel bottom right.
Yeah.
This is the next step, isn't it? This really is.
This is now reality.
A step forward.
Yeah. First of all, inside a completely new triggering engine, which also was necessary to make it possible to have USB digital pads. Second, and this is where many people will be very happy with, there's user sample import.
Which is a first for Roland.
It's a first for Roland, but there's a very good reason. Because in the days, you know, Roland and the Japanese engineers, they tried lots of times to incorporate this feature. But at that time, the processors, you know, at those times were just not fast enough. So it's always been a choice to keep the latency as low as possible and also the playing field as maximum as possible. Now, with this new processor, the new triggering engine and the technology that's in hand now, just because, you know, lots of things have evolved, this is like, you know, the Tesla of music, you know, and you don't have to put petrol in it either. There's a couple of things. It's not only user import, but all the internal sounds that are in there, you can layer them. You can, for instance, combine cymbals on snares. It's all intuitive. So let's look, for instance, here in this set. So there's also a little bit of more logical architecture behind it. So you push instrument, for instance. There you go. And you see that first you can select your instrument. Let's for instance go to that right cymbal. Okay, this is the right. You can of course change or choose the size of your right. Okay, but you can also do plenty of other things. You can for instance change the thickness of your right. Okay, so you can make your own cymbals. Okay, you can even, and this is pretty awesome, you can even, for instance, add some muffling to your ride or the sizzle type and the sizzle amount, you know, like put rivets virtually on there. You can even change the ping level of your bell. So you're in full, like, you're in full control. You can even choose the character of your ping level, you know. You can even go into advanced mode and then you can change the pitch and so on, so on, so on of your right cymbal. But now sorry, instrument. Okay. Now let's go back to basic and let's go back to, for instance, the second page of my editing. This is only the right symbol. You can do this for any of the instruments. You can also change the microphone position, and it used to also be possible with the TD-30, but now we have many more possibilities. It's like double. And we also, and this is the one I like most, I think, we also have the overhead microphone element now. So for instance, when I put this really low, it will be a very direct sound. And when I put it up, you hear overhead ambience coming in, so you can make your cymbals sound more stereo. And you can do this with any of the instruments. Like for instance, I can put more overhead character on my toms, and I can also do the same thing, for instance, with the room level. And now you also have direct dials, direct controllers to make it more easy to edit stuff.
So you can really tailor your V-drum kit to emulate your acoustic kit and make it sound as best and personal as possible.
Well, emulation is actually not good enough anymore, because in today's music, if you play metal or pop music or drum and bass, any drum sound that goes out of the studio, goes onto a record, is layered. Many people are, let's say, adding elements to the kick sound and so on. So let's continue a little bit further down, because when you actually did the instrument choice, you can now also take advantage of the new Transient Designer. So this is kind of a studio thing, which happens all the time in studio recordings. Like for instance, they have a good snare drum, they selected the microphones and so on, but in the track you need a little bit more panache for the stick attack or anything, and that's where a Transient Designer is really handy for. So for instance, you can actually have a little bit of attack in the beginning, then it goes down, and a bit of a long release. So there's so many things you can do. This is more for the studio cats. I know there's some people there who have like Ableton or Logic or Cubase, and they will immediately say, "What? In a drumming module? Okay, nice, thank you."
Well, this is where drumming is becoming producer as well. There are so many options in here.
The thing is, the presets that are already in there all feature many of those features already. So people can just switch it on and just play. But the fact that it sounds like it sounds is also a combination of everything you can do inside the module. Just hitting a snare drum is not good enough anymore. It needs to also fit the music. And that's where the last page, this page comes in. It says sub instrument. And that's a game changer. Because without increasing the latency, still the same speed, you can actually now just import your own samples or even layer with the internal samples. So let me quickly play the snare drum. Okay, this without layering. Now I'll switch the layering on, and I'm actually combining, let's see, I'm actually gonna combine this walnut popper 12-inch snare. Okay, I'm gonna combine it with the dubstep snare from the internal sound memory. This is without, and now with. It's like, whoa, something happens there. And you can also adjust how it reacts. Do you want the sound to become a layer on top from the very soft ghost note, or do you want it to come in later? So there's a lot of things, it's gonna take hours to explain all this, but this is already all featured in the presets. And now the best thing for any drummers out there that actually had the request, hey, yeah, it's all good and I'm using it live with my cover band, or I have a small studio, how do I output the sound? Well, it's very simple. Now we have XLRs, and we also have all individual outs as balanced outs. So you don't need to put DIs or use DIs in between your mono jack cables and the long XLRs to cover longer distances, you can go directly into the mixing board from this one.
Which, for going back to hybrid setups or people playing live,
Exactly.
is
Because
completely new.
also there's acoustic drummers out there that will say, "Oh man, this is amazing," because I'm actually a big fan of the TM2 or the SPD-SX, but I want to do more things. I want to do internal sounds and put my own samples on top. I want to do layers, more layers. Let's say an acoustic sound and then 2 layers from this one, so you have 3 layers. Anything goes. Yeah.
So this is obviously sharing the same technology from the TM2, which is the SD card for inputting sounds.
Well, actually, it goes a little bit further.
Okay, cool.
Because
show
with
us
the
how.
with the TM2, the SD card actually held your user samples, but they stayed on the card. So you were still reading those user samples from the card. Here, you actually import them into internal memory, because that will enable you to do many more things with those user samples.
Cool.
For instance, this is a snare drum without as it is, right? Now, let me switch on the sub layer, which you can use for the extra internal sounds, or also your user samples. Like for instance here, you have a sort of a drum and bass thing going on. So without and with. On top of that, you can easily, in this page, you can easily, for instance, also adjust the volume of your sub instrument. Okay. You can also see that you can adjust how it will react. For instance, here I want it to, for instance, fade in. So it comes, it's not there when you play softly, and then suddenly it comes up, it pops up really fast. You can even make it like a switch thing, and then you can change the fading point and so on and so on. So there's plenty of possibilities how you want to react. Same goes for the kick, for instance, because many of the kick sounds of today, in today's dance music or drum and bass or whatever, you actually have those kicks tuned in the key of the song. So you can just import all those kicks. They will be in the tune, and you can actually make big drum sounds with them. For instance, let me do that. Okay, now it's, for instance, this one. Where are we? Here we go. So this is an electronic internal kick. So this is without. This is with. Okay. Now let's just select one of the user samples. It's very easy to do. You go to user sample. Here I have, for instance, a loop. And you can start it, stop it from the kick, if only that was possible with real bass players as well. And for instance, a gong, whatever goes, you can combine everything. But the most important part, it's no latency. So it's immediately there together with any of the other sounds you trigger. It's right on the one.
And that's because the sound is on the module, not still on the card.
Exactly. No, not only still on the card. You're not using MIDI cables to go to whatever other, or a laptop, which is probably is a very still a stressy situation on stage. But let's, for instance, why not? This becomes a totally different bass drum. And everybody will be raving, and you get a lot of money, and then you will buy maybe 2 of these. Whatever. But you see the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an open source thing.
With all Roland, the more time you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. The more you learn, the more you edit it, the more you make it personal, it becomes your instrument.
Exactly. But Also, it's not as complicated as it seems, because the Japanese engineers, and together with the consultants, and for instance, Greg Blundell was one of them. I'm one of them. Is one of them. I'm one of them. We really know what people were asking when we were doing clinics. Hey, this is a little bit complicated. Can they not improve this? We want a bigger ride. We want a bigger snare. We listened. We made a short list, and the short list became a really long one. And this is the result. There's also another thing which is very important for many people. Many people that totally dig the TD-30 or TD-20, they have their sound engineers always asking them, hey, don't change the levels on the faders. Because it also actually makes your individual outs going louder or more silent. Well, now inside we have a fully independently customizable routing engine. So this means that you can actually, and let me go to this one. There you go, output. So this is how we know it from the TD-20 and TD-30, but there's other pages. So you can, for instance, have a mix-in input, not going to the headphones or only to the phones and not to the master. That was already possible with TD-20 and 30, but now, here we go. Here is the brand new routing engine. This means that, for instance, I can select if my faders are gonna affect the direct out volumes, yes or no. Now they are, now they are not. So you can totally bypass any of the signals going out in volume, totally bypass, and just for your own monitoring, just use these to make your own balance. And the sound engineers will not complain anymore. If they're still moaning, it's because of the guitar player. It's not because of the drummer anymore. So this is a very big thing. And this is also thanks to the very powerful processor, because it needs to do, the layers and the USB triggering, and at the same time all the routing. So the processor in there is quite a powerful thing.
That's cool. I mean, most people are going to be used to Roland quality. It never breaks, and they come with a long warranty and all of that. But this really is the next step from Roland.
Exactly. And there's also another thing we have to communicate as well. Because this technology is in the next step and can do so many things, there will be now future updates with new sounds, or for instance with some of the new functions. So even if you get that TD-50 module within this, let's say 6 months, it will be possible to actually give extra content to all those people that really dig the TD-50.
Yeah, and there'll be people sharing sounds and forums and things. It's going to be
it's
going to be a new movement.
Yes, and also very important, when you actually are using user samples within your kits, you can save those kits with the user samples included. So I can, for instance, just take that USB card with my backup memory and just put it in a TD-50 wherever in whatever, in the middle of Russia, and I will just have the same sounds with me all the time.
For one last thing, that if someone is using this live, they can even change the color and customize their names. Which
yes, for instance, Andertons.
We've got the best name up there, obviously.
Okay. So you can actually change the color, and this is actually for people very good. You can actually also, if you want a light show happening, you can just do it like this, put a camera on there. But also we have a favorite feature, which will help you to actually mark your favorite kits. We have a set list. So this is really a stage tool as well. And there's one important thing also to be mentioned. Okay, this doesn't have a touch screen, because there's other modules now, on the market, new one, that have touchscreens. But actually, for a live player on stage, like for instance myself or other players that are using the TD drums on stage, it's very unhandy because you're sweating. Fingers on a touchscreen are a disaster when you're playing live. And on top of that, you're still holding the stick. You're not gonna put the stick away and then do the touchscreen, you also have the show lights, which actually influence the way a touchscreen sometimes reacts to your handling. So we just have those new knobs, you know, really simple. Always works. We still have the faders. It's like analog movements becoming digital. So that's a very important thing also. It's really handy on stage to do your things. You have set lists. You can make your own set list of different kits, you know, when you're playing medleys or whatever. You have also color adjustment for any of the kits you like. For instance, we're now playing medley number 4. Okay, that's the blue medley or the yellow medley. And then all the kits that you need to use with that medley will be the yellow ones, so you can easily find them and put them back together.
So obviously we're used to Roland quality and Roland sounds and how phenomenal and Roland pushing the boundaries of what can be possible for a digital drum kit now. But what I haven't seen before, which is just quite how hard you've hit them and how they've survived. So this is the sticks he's been using, and that's the black rubber off the rim of the snare drum on this lovely Vic Firth stick, which has his name on, which obviously every drummer should have. But that's how hard, which you'll see from when he's playing it, just how hard you're hitting them. Well, they're going to stand up to that, and it proves...
Oh, yeah. Even the TD-10 at the time didn't break, you know. There's still people like yourself, you still own TD-10, and you know, they still work. It's
I don't hit mine that hard because it's an antique now.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's like two things in combined, you know. First of all, a little bit of fitness workout and playing drums, so it's a nice thing.
So just to sum up, this is the kit we've been playing today, but there's 3 options. So talk us through the difference of the options. And
okay, this is the big one. You know, you have the KDA-22 bass drum package, the 2 heads, the front head, which comes with the Roland logo and so on, and the digital technology head for the triggering, which goes on your kick drum side, you know, kick pedal side. So that's one setup. Features the digital ride, digital snare. The rack is the same, but it's now a little bit higher in order to fit all those 22-inch bass drums out there. So that's setup number 1. Setup number 2 is just the same: digital ride, digital snare, the module, and instead of the bass drum package, it will be the KD-140, which has proved to be a very, very solid digital kick drum pad.
Yeah.
It's also exactly the same for double bass pedals and so on. And then there's the TD-50K, which comes with the smaller pads, like the TD-30K, for instance.
You're still getting all the technology. It's just
exactly
it's the cheapest option out of the 3.
So this also means that this module is actually compatible with all those TD-20 and TD-30 pads out there, because you can also still use the analog trigger inputs for your former, V-drums pads. You can even, you know, use this technology with the old TD-7 pads from 1993 if you want, or the TD-10s you have.
Yeah.
So it's an open source system, and most important, it works.
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for Michael for being here. Very special.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be able to show you this one just the day after it was actually officially launched.
Yes, thank you for training it under the ocean and come and seeing us for a few hours. It's been super special
ocean,
having
it's
you.
only the channel. But it's an ocean, it's actually true.
We're going to have the gear as soon as Roland can get it to us. So
it's actually on a ship now.
It's on its way, is it?
Yeah.
We have ordered it.
Probably in the Suez Canal or something.
Have a look at the links below. You can see all the different configurations and everything. And great new product. Check us out. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.